Hey guys, I am so excited to be recording this video for you today because it has the potential to change your life. Not because of what I'm about to teach you, but because of who I'm about to introduce you to. The teachings from these mentors have helped me cultivate a mindset of success. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some old school mentors that carry the wisdom of the ages. But before I share with you this list, I first need to share with you why it is so important that you are particular about what you're consuming up here. If you don't first understand the why, then probably by tomorrow this list of names will be meaningless to you. 80% of success is what's in the mind. Who you surround yourself with is who you become. You've heard this before, but it doesn't just mean physically. It also can include who you're following online. If I looked at the people that you're following on Instagram or say YouTube, what would I find? Would I see that you're following maybe a bunch of Kardashians, movie stars, entertainers? What you sow is what you reap, and I can get a decent idea of your results in life simply by looking at the content that you're consuming on the day-to-day. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch a funny video by Mr. Beast or that you shouldn't watch entertaining TikTok reel or even watching the news. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that if it's all that your mind is consuming, then you shouldn't be expecting extraordinary results in life. I cautioned you in my last video on being a follower or a subscriber of people who aren't positively impacting your life. The video was called, "If you want to be successful, do the opposite." I highly recommend watching it, so I'll link it down in the description box for you. There's one statement that's been acknowledged throughout history, and it goes like this: "As you think, so shall you become." Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, once said, "A man's life are what his thoughts make of it." Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." In the Bible, in Mark 9 verse 23, it goes, "All things are possible to him that believeth." And William James said, "The greatest discovery of my generation, human beings can alter their lives by altering the attitudes of their minds." So how particular are you about what you're consuming and the effects that it has on your mind? As you think, so shall you become. It's the secret to success, but it's also the secret to failure. If you think positively, you have a vision for your future, you have a concrete goal that you're going to work towards, you will undoubtedly achieve it. On the contrary, if you don't have a vision, you don't have goals, and therefore your thoughts are thoughts of loss, of confusion, of despair, of anxiety, then that's what you will become. And if you think nothing, mindlessly scrolling on TikTok all day long, then you will become nothing. You're not going to grow in either direction. The beautiful thing about being alive today is that you and I have free access to gold. The information that we can access is incredible. It can literally help us create real physical gold in life, real riches in our lives. And if you want to become successful, you have to develop this hunger, this desire for self-education. Jim Rohn, one of my favorite mentors, he said this: "Mr. Schoaf got me started on my library. He said, standard education will get you standard results. Check those numbers and see if that's what you want. And if it isn't, if you want something more than standard, then you must become self-educated." Here's a question for you. Do you truly want to become successful? Well, tell me, how many books have you read this year? Did you know that there's a book on how to become successful? There's books on how to become a great leader, how to become confident, how to invest your money, how to thrive in relationships, how to have optimal health. And people don't read them, not because they can't read, but because they choose not to. So it's a bit of an oxymoron if you tell me that you want to become successful, yet you aren't willing to invest in your self-education. And investing in terms of investing your time into your self-education, and also maybe even investing your resources, investing money. As I mentioned, most of these things are available for free on the internet. There's a lot that you can learn for free, but maybe it will require you to pay some money to spend on a book or a seminar or a course. And I'm telling you that that's going to be the best money that you've ever spent. In my previous video, which I'll link in the description box, I share with you 5 decisions that changed my life forever. One of those decisions was the decision to invest my money. And The first investment that I ever made was in my self-education. And this is always a priority for me. I'm always willing to invest my money into my self-education because I know that what I'm learning, what I'm consuming up here is going to be changing my life forever. It's what's going to help me to make decisions in my life, to notice opportunities. So don't be afraid to invest money into your own education. Readers are leaders. It's not enough to just be a hard worker. I know so many people who are extremely hard workers, and yet they're behind on their bills. Jim Rohn taught me to always work harder on yourself than you do at your job. So this was a very important lesson for me because, of course, like most, it's easy to spend 8+ hours a day working on your job. But how much time are you investing into yourself, into growing, into learning, into developing new skills? Your job is going to help to provide you with making a living, but if your personal growth is what's going to help you to grow and become more and to reach your goals of financial freedom. So when you are working long hours, I understand that it might feel like you don't have the time, but what I did, my approach was to use my net time. So I found audiobooks, I found audio programs, YouTube videos, all of these things you can just listen to. You don't have to watch or sit down and read a book. And therefore I used my net time, the time that I would get ready in the morning, the time that I would be spending at the gym, the time that I would cook or clean, the time that I would be spending in commute. Research shows that most people spend at least an hour a day in their cars. What are you doing with that hour? You could be using that time to really learn. If you read only 30 minutes a day, by the end of the year, you'll have read 50 books. 50. Every successful person I know has a curated library of books. Reading is part of their daily routine, just like brushing their teeth or taking a shower. Myself, in the last 8 months alone, I've read 13 books just on the topic of birth and parenting because I'm entering this new stage of my life and I want to know about it. I want to learn about it. Write this down. There are 2 ways to learn in life. You can learn from your own experiences in life, or you can learn from the experiences of others. I recommend both. Because if you are learning just from your own experiences, then your learnings are going to be very limited. But if you also open yourself up to learning from the experience of others, then what you can learn is virtually limitless. There is nothing that you can't learn how to do. One book can save you 5 years of trial and error. The laws of physics state that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And this is in alignment with the law of cause and effect. There are no causeless effects. So, when you see someone who is happy and successful, you should study them because happy and successful is the effect, and you have to understand what was the cause. This also means that success doesn't happen by chance and that you have to take action in order to see the effects, that you have to create the cause in order to have the effects. If you want your life to change, then you have to change. Don't wait for your environment or your circumstances to change. You're going to be waiting a long time. So the only way you can change is by changing what's up here. It all starts here. So that's why I'm going to share with you this list of mentors now, because these people will help you to shift. First of all, becoming aware of what's going on up here, because you'll notice that there's a lot of self-sabotage, limiting beliefs, things that are not going to be conducive for your personal goals. And then also making some shifts. And the amazing thing again is that you can learn from all of these people for absolutely free. Most of this content is readily available free online, so we have no excuses. And I want to let you know that most of the people on this list was introduced to me by someone else, just like I'm about to introduce them to you. And the person who introduced this list of mentors to me is my husband, Stephen James. Stephen is 8 years older than me. I was only 20 years old when we first met, and I was very fortunate that not only did I meet the love of my life, but I met a man who was extremely dedicated to personal development. He studied these people, and in doing so, he transformed his life. He went from this extremely shy boy, teachers would ask if he actually speaks, to someone who is a speaker on YouTube, who has 1.4 million subscribers for a reason. So I'm very grateful that he shared these people, he made these introductions to me, and I want to pass that on to you. Now, one last thing I'll mention before I get into the names here is just letting you know that the more I studied these people, these mentors, the more I realized how information is recycled. Very rarely do I hear someone say something that is very uniquely theirs, that they've come up with all on their own. Oftentimes now I can trace it back to their mentor who first said it to them, and then their mentor who first said it to them. So for example, the first person that I studied extensively was Tony Robbins, and everything I heard was like, wow, this is amazing. This guy's ingenious. And after I studied him for many years, I finally asked myself, well, I wonder where he learned all this from. Who was his mentor? And so then I discovered who his mentor was, and I studied his mentor. And guess what? A lot of the things that Tony says come from his mentor. And then the things that his mentor says come from their mentor. So they pick up on these things and they share them, and sometimes they share them as their own. And it's not done maliciously. It's just that when you have heard something so many times, you adopt it. It becomes a part of your psyche. It becomes of just what you know as truth. And so just want to point that out, because you'll notice a lot of parallels between the things that these different people say. And that's a good thing, because repetition is the mother of mastery. That's a Tony Robbins quote. Okay, so how this is going to work is I'm just going to go through the names. I'm not going to give you a lot of information on them, but what I will do is in the description box, I'm going to list the names alongside with a video clip that you can watch on YouTube of this person, of this speaker. And I've selected this video clip for you because I think it's a great introduction to the speaker. The first half of the mentors I'm about to share with you are known as motivational speakers. But just remember that there's only such thing as self-motivation, because I have tried to change people, you've probably tried to change people, and you realize that it's not possible. You can't change someone. They will only change when they have the will to change. So keep that in mind, that these speakers, they call them motivational speakers, but really the motivation that they're giving you is inspiring you to create changes yourself. So let's get into it. The first person that I want to introduce you to, and this person really makes the top of my list because he is just a gold mine of wisdom. And I really highly recommend that you study his content. He is a master speaker. The way he delivers is simple. It's straight to the point. I don't know how he is so eloquent when he speaks. Every word is perfect. There's no extra verbiage, and his name is Jim Rohn. So Jim Rohn, I will link in the description box a 2-hour seminar that he performed that you can watch for free on YouTube, and I highly recommend it. It's going to be the best 2 hours you can spend. I've listened to this video like 30 times, and I'll listen to it 30 times over. And it's the same thing with a lot of the stuff, guys. Some of these people I've studied and I've listened to their content over and over and over again. For example, Tony Robbins, when he says something, if he's being interviewed, Steph and I, we can almost guess exactly what his response will be because we've heard it before. So this is how you really learn something. It's not by hearing it once, it's by hearing it multiple times. So Jim Rohn, I love him. He's probably like my favorite because I just love the way he communicates. I love the way he delivers. He's entertaining. He's just spot on. And everything he says is like, I gotta repeat that. I gotta rewind and listen to it again. So check out his video. If you don't watch anything else, just check out his stuff, and there's a lot you can learn from him. Now, Jim Rohn is the mentor of Tony Robbins. So in Tony Robbins' early days, he's accredited a lot to Jim Rohn. He was, I guess, the person that inspired him, that mentored him, and you'll hear a lot of what Tony says in what Jim Rohn says. So he got a lot of his works from Jim Rohn. Now, Tony Robbins is also someone I want you to learn about and study, because not everyone likes Tony's style, his delivery, not everyone appreciates it. But I think that it's important that you don't miss out on the message because you don't like the messenger. So just because maybe you don't like the style, maybe he's too intense for you, doesn't mean you should neglect the powerful information that he's sharing. Tony is also a master. Since a very young age, he's been doing these seminars. He's changed his entire life. He's just like an incredible human being and such a resource for us. And the fact that you can go to his seminars today and you can see him in person live, he's still working even though he doesn't have to, because it's his passion, it's his mission in life, is to help transform, to be a key role in transforming the lives of others. That's such a blessing. And I always wish, for example, that I went to a Michael Jackson show and now he's passed and it's too late. And with Tony Robbins, it's the same thing. One day he's gonna pass, and I don't want to have said that, oh, I wish I went to see him live. So the cool thing about Tony Robbins is that he's alive and healthy, and you can go to his seminars. And so I highly recommend his seminars. If you are just getting started with Tony Robbins, the first seminar I recommend attending is called Unleash the Power Within. That would be a great introductory seminar. The second seminar, Date with Destiny, great seminar as well. And the third one that I would recommend is his Money Mastery seminar, the seminar about business. So if you do have a business, it's good to go to that one. But definitely the first two are very powerful seminars to attend in person. You can also do them live. I think they're still doing live because of COVID. So highly recommend it. But what I recommend even more is Tony's old audio programs. So back in the day when Tony was a lot younger, he created audio programs. And these audio programs are super powerful, super useful, and still relevant today. So what I've noticed after listening to Tony on repeat and listening to all his content is that a lot of his content was created very early on, when he was very young, like 20s and 30s. And he's just repeated all of that since then, because it was relevant then, it's relevant today, why change it up? So you can go and listen to that stuff on his website. You can go to his website under training systems. He has programs called like Ultimate Edge, Personal Power, Time of Your Life, and Ultimate Relationship. Get all of these programs. Super, super high quality content. Okay. The next person is Earl Nightingale. Now, Earl Nightingale is also a very famous motivational speaker, and just a lot of great content. So I'm just going to link his stuff in the description. Also, yeah, old school, really old school, but still relevant today. These guys were, they were really above their time, beyond their time, or however you put it. The next one is Earl Shoaff. So Earl Shoaff was the mentor of Jim Rohn. So again, like when I find someone that I really respect and admire, I'm like, ooh, I wonder who they learned from, and then I'll trace them back, and you can start to see who they learned from. So Tony Robbins learned from Jim Rohn, who learned from Earl Shoaff. And Earl Shoaff, fortunately, he had a radio station. He has a lot of audio programs that are also available online today. And again, amazing, just beyond his time. I'm going to go through this list a lot faster now. The next one is T. Harv Eker. I love T. Harv Eker. He's so funny in my eyes. I love his style. He's got really incredible content. He's also got great courses. He's no longer active, no longer speaking. You can't go and do a seminar with him, but his content is still available online. I highly recommend T. Harv Eker. I've done all his programs, and yeah, fantastic. The next one is Stephen James, my husband. I cannot forego him from this list. He is my number one inspiration. He's an amazing human being. He has done so much personal growth, and the cool thing is that he's learned from all of these people. So when you go and watch him on YouTube, you're getting a wealth of knowledge, just like all this information that he's learned over the years from all these inspirational people and his own life experience. He's been doing YouTube now for like over a decade, and you can see how his content has progressed, and he's just, if there's anything he knows how to do, it's mindset. He is the master of the mind. Like, this guy knows mindset. So I highly, if you like my stuff, you got to go check out Stefan's channel, okay? There's no reason that you should not be subscribed to him. So Stefan James on YouTube, Project Life Mastery is his YouTube channel. And yeah, he's my #1 inspiration. I'm always just like in awe by his knowledge and his wisdom and his maturity. And yeah, of course I'm a little biased because he's my husband, but yeah, I got lucky with him. Okay, so the next one is Joseph McLennan III. He is a really funny guy, really smart and entertaining, and he also he shows up at the Tony Robbins events, and he has a segment in those events. Zig Ziglar makes the list, Les Brown, Brian Tracy, Bob Proctor, Jordan Peterson. He is available on YouTube, Jordan Peterson. A lot of his content, he's just like an incredible thinker. He's one of the greatest thinkers of our time. He's Canadian. And if you listen to his content, just by listening to his conversation, you will feel smarter. You will probably become smarter. Just the way he articulates, his vocabulary, the thoughts are really incredible. So I highly recommend listening to his stuff. Okay, so these ones are, you know, more of the motivational speakers that kind of make the list. Now, the next ones that I'm going to mention are more on the spiritual side. So they have, you know, they're motivational, but they're also very spiritual. So of course, who's going to make my list? Jesus. Jesus is one of the greatest teachers of history. There's so much wisdom to pull from the stories of Jesus. And regardless of your religion, there is a tremendous value that you can pull by studying him, the things that he did and what he said. David Hawkins is another teacher who has been incredibly impactful in my life. I first got into David Hawkins by reading his book on letting go, and that has been an extraordinary concept to understand, of surrendering, of letting go. And I have a video on this topic, I think. I know Stefan does, so I can link in the description for you. But there's a lot of wisdom that David Hawkins has. And the cool thing is you can go to his website, and there's a whole library with like, I don't know how many hours, hundreds of hours of audio programs of recordings from his seminar. So Stefan and I are subscribed to that, and we consume this content, and I'll, again, can listen to it while I'm doing my makeup or while I'm cooking or cleaning. And it's just incredibly beautiful information. There's Wayne Dyer. Everyone kind of knows Wayne Dyer. Joe Dispenza, Michael Singer, David Data. You may not know him. David Data is more someone to learn in the relationships niche. So if you want to learn about polarity in the relationships, feminine, masculine, about passion, David Data is an incredible teacher. And the last one on the list is Sadhguru. So this is my list. These are people that I respect, people that I have studied, people that I've learned a lot from. Doesn't mean that I agree with everything that they say, but it means that there's a tremendous value that they have to offer. And so I want to share that with you guys. And if you have people on your list that you can share, please do share that in the comment section below. We can all help each other out. I'm always excited to discover new people. So again, at the end of the day, my message here is to be particular about what you're consuming. What are you feeding your mind? You know what you're feeding your stomach, but what's just important is what you're feeding your belly, is what you're feeding your mind. And it's so easy on social media to get caught up in the minute, caught up in the silly things and the entertainment, to just kind of distract yourself. But if you really want to be the architect of your life, if you really want to create a life of your choosing, then you have to use the time, the opportunity to be feeding your mind with knowledge, feeding your mind with information that can help you make shifts in your life that are going to help you grow exponentially. That has been by far like the #1 secret of my success. It's just understanding how powerful the mind is. It's like a computer program that it's going to get programmed whether you realize it or not. Over the years, it's going to get programmed by your parents, by your friends, by your teachers, by society, by the media. And it's up to you to become aware of what that programming is. And if you feel like that programming doesn't serve you in obtaining and achieving your goals in life, then hey, you're not stuck with it. Just get rid of that programming. You can replace it with something else, or if you want to head in a more spiritual direction, you can empty it out, okay? Empty it out and start anew. So that is my message. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it and if it's benefited you, please share it so that other people can benefit as well. Help me to reach more people with this information. In the description box, I will list all of the names of these people along with some resources that I think will be helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day.